Before we know it, summer break will be over and the kids and grandkids will be heading back to the classroom. For some, it can be a tough transition. So this morning, we're learning how to make it easier on the kids and their caregivers. Cami Woodruff joins me now. She's an occupational therapist at Children's of Alabama. Cami, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. For those who may not know or may not be as familiar, what do occupational therapists do?
Okay, so occupational therapists can work with infants all the way up to geriatrics. And we mainly address functional skills, so whatever a person wants to do in their daily life that they struggle to do, we can address those skills. So it can be in a mental health arena or a physical dysfunction area.
And when it comes to getting kids, maybe young kids, back to school, back on a routine, I think a lot of parents and caregivers would say, I want them to get up and be able to get ready and go to school and not have it be a fight.
Yes.
Going back to school after being off for so many months. And so this morning we're going to walk people through maybe some things that could help and what we can do now to prepare.
Yes. So first of all, which is not a surprise, limit technology. It's more widely known that technology impacts attention span, behavior, mood, all of those things. So limiting technology is important. Instead, encourage play with toys, be creative, imaginative, and play with people. Whether it's fine motor toys or going outside and using their body and getting their energy out. So encourage play instead of technology.
What is that? What's the benefit of play for a young kid to be able to play with toys or use their imagination or run around outside?
Okay, so playing with toys teaches you fine motor skills, spatial concepts of how to put toys together and do things with toys. Of course, it's more creative, imaginative. If you're playing with somebody, you've got to learn to get along. You've got to incorporate their ideas into your play. They incorporate your ideas. So it's a lot of back and forth exchange and communication.
Certainly. And when it comes to getting into a routine and getting them involved, there's a way to get them involved and maybe excited about doing some of these things to get ready for school.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things that help children be more excited is when they can be independent and successful. So one important thing is making sure kids can manage the clothes they wear. Button buttons, tie shoes. If they have to wear a belt, make sure they can buckle that belt. Same thing with backpacks or lunch bags, making sure they can open and close those things and open and close everything in their lunch box. If they struggle with the juice box or the chip bag, that's going to cause frustration. In the classroom, that would look more like managing their folders or 3-ring binders, whatever they have to use. If they struggle to get the paper in or the rings open, they tend to fall behind in the classroom during transitions. They get frustrated, and then they're more likely to have behavioral problems. So helping them learn those kinds of skills so they can be independent in the classroom builds confidence for our children.
And so maybe practicing some of these things. If your child hasn't done that before, is going up a grade level and has some new equipment, some new supplies,
right.
Practice it beforehand.
Yes, and if one way you might know this is if their backpack comes home every day with paper shoved in the bottom, that's a good indicator that they are not able to get it into the folders. Or not, at least not in a timely manner. It's just easier to just shove it in the bottom. So that's a good indicator that you could help them with that.
What would you say about routines heading into the school year?
Certainly a sleep-wake routine. Again, that's well understood. They should go to bed about the same time, get up about the same time, and have time to get ready in the morning. Another routine is learning to sit for meals. Kids do have to sit for meals at school, and they do not have screens to watch. So kids that roam around at home and eat, things like that, teach them at times to sit because they do have to sit at school. After school routines are helpful. Kids tend to comply when they know what the expectations are. So, your routine is going to depend on your family and the day of the week and activities, but set those routines for them. Sometimes having them written out so the child knows, okay, I get to snack and then I go outside and play, then I come in and do my homework, and then bath time. When they know what the expectation is, they're more likely to comply.
Good to know. Now, we talked a little bit, mostly about kind of younger kids.
Yes.
What about for older elementary into middle school, even high school? Are there things that as parents we can do to help?
Yes. It's would be probably surprising. A lot of kids, even in middle school, struggle again with binders and getting papers in the right place because you have multiple classes and they do not always have organizational skills. So help them to, like, this part of the binder is for math. That's where your math pages go. To us, that seems obvious, but it is not obvious to children. Even middle school, I've worked with middle schoolers, and it's not obvious to them. They just put everything in the front of their folder. Then when it's time to pull out the homework, they have no idea where that homework is because it's gotten so far back or shoved in the bottom of the bag.
Right. Yeah, the telltale sign that there's an issue there.
Yes, if it's all shoved in the bottom of the bag.
Good to know.
Yes.
These are things that caregivers, parents can keep in mind as we head into the school year. Cami, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Certainly.
Thank you.
There's more talk of Alabama just ahead after the break.